Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this morning's webinar for AGS and the Grants Clearinghouse. This is our pre-conference webinar for the upcoming NCWE conference. So we're really excited that you're here. Thank you very much. So let's go ahead and get started. Just a little bit of housekeeping. This is going to be a live recording. And so feel free to unmute yourself if you have questions or use the chat feature. And this recording will be sent out afterwards. So if you want to be able to review it or share it with your colleagues, that would be great. So again, welcome. My name is Susan Harden here with AGS, American Government Services. AGS is a little faster way to say it. And I'm joined by my partner colleague, Elizabeth Higgins. Elizabeth, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, everyone, hello. I'm the Director of Grants Administration for the Grants Clearinghouse, and we'll be sharing more about our organization in a few minutes.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. So let's start to dive in. I know this is really a quick fire introduction prior to NCWE. So we wanted to really just make sure that we spend a few minutes introducing you to our organizations, what we do, how we as working together really help you as grantees or potential grantees, how you're supported through the full grant life cycle. So this is roughly a 25-minute presentation, so really quick fire. So we have this recording. Please, I'll put a couple plugs in. Please stop and see us at the conference. We'll have a booth. We're sponsors there, so look forward to meeting you all in person. But with a picture being worth 1,000 words, this is sort of the picture of the full grant life cycle as our two organizations work sort of in tandem throughout different sort of major milestones through the process. I'll speak to the AGS part now, and Elizabeth will pick up on in more detail of the Grants Clearinghouse. But this is sort of a nice graphic to really talk through. Of course, project design, proposal writing. You win the grant, you need to be able to manage that grant data and report on it, and kind of move through that process of performance management that goes hand in hand with compliant data management and reporting, and sort of all the way through that process to wrap up and evaluations that the Grants Clearinghouse is so well known for, and data backup and storage. And that really comes into play from the AGS side on the data management and warehousing side. So again, picture being worth 1,000 words. That's kind of the quickie overview of our two organizations and how we play together and how we support you as grantees. To AGS, just a little bit. And again, stop and see us. You'll see and hear more about us at NCWE. But we are absolutely national leaders in managing web-based data collection and management systems for, we're really well known for federal grants. Again, just some graphics of a handful of the federal grants that we support. We have 25 plus years in working with hundreds and hundreds of organizations across 40 plus different Department of Labor and Department of Commerce through EDA, Department of Energy, Department of Education, lots of grants that we have pre-built compliant turnkey data management and reporting systems. So at the conference, we will be there able to show you live some demos of any one of these dozen or more pre-built applications for WIPS reporting, for EDA reporting, for Good Jobs Challenge. We are very much subject matter experts in the Pearl. some quick bullets and very hard to read graphics, but maybe you can read them when you get the handout. Just some quick analytic highlights. All of our grant templates that are DOL or Department of Labor focused come with a pre-built compliant WIPS report that you press the magic button out of Prime and produce a CSV file that meets the specification of the PERL for your specific grant. We always provide a QPR or quarterly performance report that matches what the feds are asking for. We always include performance outcome measures, whether that's for strengthening community colleges or for the other Department of Labor grants. There's some different performance outcome measures requirements there. For those of you who have been pinged for Mathematica queries, we also provide the Mathematica query. The output that Mathematica is looking for is they are working with DOL for longitudinal analysis, and lots of other reports for code books and queries, data exports, being able to export every field from every form 24/7. We do not have you over that proverbial data barrel. It's your data. We simply host it. So I just wanted to make sure that high level analytics is sort of bulleted out for you. And last but not least, just a little bit of our project management infrastructure, supporting various workflow management capabilities and requirements that you may have for your organization and for your grant. We also provide that repository of critical documentation, attachments for your employer partners, for your data management partners, for your participants, and just a little brief about what is AGS Prime. Prime is in and of itself a no-code, web-based platform as a service, or a PaaS. It is truly ideal for grant management, CRM. You can build your own applications beyond the pre-built templates that we provide. So again, stop and see us at the conference. We'll be able to demonstrate with various grant templates, as well as demonstrate how easy it is to build your own applications. So that's sort of the quickie, and I really do mean quickie overview of AGS Prime for your grants. I'm going to turn it over to Elizabeth, and you've got the floor.
Thank you, Susan. So the Grants Clearinghouse was founded by Mason Bishop, and Mason Bishop previously served as the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Employment and Training at the U.S. Department of Labor. He led national workforce policy efforts, initiatives, and oversaw key investment programs, including a lot of the grant programs that your organizations are applying for. After he left the Department of Labor, he founded WorkEd Consulting, and he really focused on the intersection of workforce development and higher education, and how do we align systems, processes, and goals across both of these systems to ensure greater outcomes for all of the individuals we're trying to serve collectively. And as he worked for well over a decade in his consulting practice, he started to identify a significant need, and that was 360 degrees of support for the grant cycle. So he launched the Grants Clearinghouse with his team, and he has recruited individuals from federal government, from state government, former program officers, former project officers, directors who were responsible for administering these grant funds to organizations. He's put together this team for the sole purpose of providing services directly to organizations who are pursuing federal and state funding. So our model is prepare, win, perform. In the prepare side, our teams are experienced in helping organizations set up the systems they need to successfully pursue federal awards and implement them on the back end. And what we saw far too often was organizations would find proposal writers, submit these proposals, and then no one could implement them. And these objectives that were written into these grant proposals did not align with the strategy and the goals of the organizations. So what was happening is these significant grant programs within their institutions were getting abandoned. And that does not bode well when you want to go back to the federal government and ask for more funding in the future. Now they had a black mark against them because they had not appropriately manage these awards. And so what we do on the prepare side is we work with individuals, small teams, large organizations, and consortiums to make sure that they are pursuing funding that strategically supports their mission, their goals, their values as an organization, so that it is not dependent on the success of one individual who adopted that as their pet project, right? We want to make sure that the funding the institution or the organization receives is in alignment with the strategy of that organization. We do this through support by providing direct research. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are the opportunities? What are your competitors doing? We need to have a clear understanding of where you fit in the world of funding. Next, we identify your strategic goals internally. What are you trying to achieve in your organization? And how might funding from a federal or state government agency best support that? Because it's not an easy win, right? Writing the grant proposal is easy, but winning and appropriately managing government funding is a lot of effort, and it's an investment in your time and investment in your resources. We want to make sure all of that is aligned. We also have the win team. So our team is full of grant writers who know the federal agencies, state agencies. We also write congressionally directed spending requests. So they understand government funding through and through and can help you craft the best proposal for what you need to support internally. And that leads us to our final bucket, perform. Perform means project implementation. After you win that grant award and your team needs to implement that project, we help identify the staff you need. We can act as interim project managers while you hire the individuals you need to successfully perform on your award. We also train. We train your staff and help them get up to speed with what they need to understand to successfully perform the grant activities. We also can come in and do different policies and procedures audits to make sure that you have everything in place that you are required to have in place to successfully fulfill your obligations to your grant agreement, the Code of Federal Regulations, and to your federal funder and their expectations. Next slide, Susan. So one of the way that we help in that perform bucket after you've won the federal award is through courses. We have short-term courses on our website, grantsclearinghouse.com. You can instantly download these courses and watch them immediately. We have short form, 30 minutes, and all the way up to 90 minutes. And these help you with specific skills. For example, preparing for monitoring. If you have a grant award from the Department of Labor, they're going to come monitor your organization at some point. Our course helps you prepare for that process so that you reduce the chances of findings or items that they might deem you at risk. Okay, so we want to help you prepare and put your best foot forward. So that's what that course is about. We also have more in-depth courses. These are virtual, self-paced modules, and you get access to our learning platform, and your grant managers. I'm going to stop right there. What is a grant manager? It's not a title. It's a role, and someone on your team must assume the role of grant manager when you win a federal award. That might be broken up across multiple people. Maybe you have 3 individuals that assume the role of grant manager. So it's not a title. I've seen directors, I've seen vice presidents. I've even seen a president of a college adopt the role of grant manager. So this role of grant manager means that you're responsible for the administration oversight of that federal award and the grant activities, right? You're the one that's making sure everything is getting accomplished, that you have the policies and procedures in place, that you have the systems and processes, that the person you said you were going to serve, your target individual, is actually getting the services that you promised that funder. And so we have developed these courses for grant managers so that you can instantly, from the day you are notified that you have won the award, can instantly use this course as a guide and a training to step into that role. You can take your actual grant award and instantly put that into practice with these courses. We walk side by side with you. So Grant Manager 101 is a basic introduction to what are your roles, what do you need to get set up, what are those first steps when you win that award that you need to implement to successfully manage that award. We're also releasing soon Grant Manager 102, which will focus on managing grant finances. Cannot assume that your accountant or your CFO or your bookkeeper has ever been trained in grant management. They might not have any knowledge about that. You also cannot assume that the person implementing your grant activities understands anything about accounting. This brings those worlds together, trains your grant staff and your finance staff so that they can make sure all the policies, procedures, and requirements that you need to have in place to protect those federal dollars are in place. So go to our website, check out our courses, and feel free to contact me if you have any questions. We also customize programs. We can customize training specific to your award and your organization. Thanks, Susan.
That is so cool. Great. Thank you so much. So, kind of brings us to our last slide. Next steps. If you loved what you heard, and there was great content, Elizabeth, thank you so much for that education. That was really, really great. If you loved what you heard and you're intrigued, you want to get together with us, two things. One, visit us at the NCWE conference. This is a pre-con webinar, so absolutely come over and see us, press the flesh. We'll be there in person. We'll have lots of handouts, lots of demos, all kinds of fun stuff. If you're not going to be at the conference or you just get too busy, and I totally get that, absolutely call or email Elizabeth or I for follow-up questions, scheduling demos, getting together about specific pricing, talking about, how do we configure things specifically for our needs, for our grants, et cetera, et cetera. How do we get started with grant writing? So those are the demonstrable next steps, and we would love to hear from you. And here is our information. This will be emailed to everybody. So jot this down now, but it will also be sent out to you after the webinar. Go ahead.
I also just want to say that wherever you are in the process, reach out to Susan. And so why did the Grants Clearinghouse and AGS start partner up? Because we were in the field practicing and all of our clients were asking us, how do we organize this data? How do we manage this data? This is so overwhelming. We have so many questions. What do we do? And so we had to start asking around. We asked organizations that had managed hundreds of millions of dollars in federal awards, what are you using? What systems do you like? And time and time and time again, the answer was AGS is the best. You have to get AGS. You must reach out to them. And so what we caught on to early on was that when we're drafting proposals, we reach out to Susan and we say, how much might this cost? Or what do we do? Or what's the process? Or what can you offer? What tools exist? So we have an understanding of what's on the market, and we can write that in to our grant budgets, because it costs money to appropriately manage a grant award, and data management is a huge part of that, and the funders expect it. You can't just pull up an Excel spreadsheet and bumble your way through it. you will waste so much time, so much money doing it that way. So AGS is the perfect tool. And we saw again and again and again how necessary it was in the implementation of these government programs. So we reached out, we said there's a natural alignment here as we are helping individuals and you have the data management systems and you're forward thinking and where this is going in the future and pre-planning to make sure you're meeting those needs because our technological world is changing so rapidly and AGS is at the forefront of that. That's critical as you're thinking about 5 years from now, what is the government going to expect from me with AI? What is the government going to expect from us in terms of efficiency and the level of data requirements that they're going to suddenly expect of you now that these tools exist? AGS has those answers. They are building the future of how you will use data management to function in your programs. So I highly recommend you reach out to Susan, not just after you've won an award, but before the award and understand the product. So you can write into it your plan. What's your work plan? How are you going to utilize this tool to become efficient?
2 thumbs up. Yay.
It's
All
worth it.
right.
Yeah.
You bet. Well, thank you. Thank you for those kind words. And ditto back to you, Elizabeth, and the Grants Clearinghouse. So, without further ado, we will let you go. Have a wonderful day. Safe travels for those of you who are going to be at the conference. Again, this information will be emailed out to you. And so we look forward to hearing from you, hopefully seeing some of you, but definitely hearing from you. And best of luck with all of your grants and your progress as we wrap up 2024 and plan for an even more successful 2025. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you
Bye.
soon. Bye-bye.